Hello, everyone, and welcome to the final round of the Hastings Premier Tournament 2026. Joined as always with WAM Natasha Regan. Hello, Natasha.
Hi there, Matthew.
And what could be better on the day after New Year's Day to spend some time looking at some chess in Hastings? Well, let's dive in. It's a very interesting situation. Actually, maybe just let's have a look at the scores before we start. We've got Marius Doyer on 6.5 out of 8. Well, we've got a couple of players who've drawn on. They're now on 6 out of 9, so they're not in contention for any prizes. Then we have a whole group of players on 6 out of 8. Bennett Hagner, another German IM, Alexander Kovchan, Grandmaster from Ukraine, and our two British boys, Simon Williams and the Ginger GM, and Alex Golding, unfortunately playing each other.
Yes.
I mean, in some ways that's good, but in other ways not so good, of course. And then a little bit further back, we've got a big posse on 5.5. Stephen Gordon playing against Aditya, who has had a really good tournament, drawing with Danny Gormali, and yesterday beating really good junior Stanley Badacioni. We've got Danny Gormali, Kobe Kalavanan, who's doing some crazy opening things as always, and a slight surprise, Yongyu Lee from South Korea, seeing him for the first time there. But I think Hastings always has a lot of visitors from South Korea. There's a whole group. It might be a very young player, this one. Well, it says it's young you, it's a whole delegation of South Korean players and very young kids as well. So that might be something really nice there. And then a little bit further back on 5, there's the top seed, Pierre Laurent Palou. He's been a bit unlucky, to be honest, and has just fallen back in the new year. And then a whole set of players. And just to mention Henry Adams, who's been doing really, really well, held a draw in about 140 moves against Tim Rutte, the Dutch IM, yesterday. It was actually a theoretically losing position, but very difficult for White to convert, and Tim didn't quite manage it. So there's been a lot of exciting stuff there. Oh, Stanley, shout out to Stanley there, just on 4.5.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at how it's been pretty exciting so far. And we start off with a very interesting game on board 1. Crucial game between Marius Doyer, who's the leader on 6.5, and Alexander Kovchan on 6. So is Marius in line for a GM norm?
That's what I want to know, actually.
I mean, I'm looking at. I'm just wondering about it, really, because I mean, he's played 3 GMs, so that's pretty good. But I'm wondering whether the average rating of his opponents would mean he needed 7.5 rather than 7. I'm not sure.
Well, Matthew, AI last night told me I had to mention that as well as going for the title, Marius Doyer was going for his GM norm. So I'm going to mention it, and hopefully someone in the chat can tell me if that's actually true or not.
Yeah, if any of the arbiters are watching, that would be incredible.
Yes,
but okay,
his position doesn't. Yes, is he on for GM norm, and what does he need? Does he need a win or a draw for?
Exactly, that's really the key thing. So I don't think we're talking about a win here, really. I think we're talking about a possibility of a draw here for him. So, but of course, the tournament victory, I think, is probably even more important, than the Grandmaster norm. Very interesting game, huge theoretical battle in actual fact. So let me just take you through that. So it was a Caro-Kann, and then Alexander Kovchan played the short variation, Bishop E2. And well, Black played one of the sharpest lines against this. I mean, Black has a lot of possibilities against this. You can do stuff like Knight E7 as well, and slow lines. But there is also a very sharp line with C5, Now white plays the move bishop e3. That's a refinement of Nigel's original concept, I think. I think Nigel was tending to play c3, but bishop e3 with the idea of takes you're going to take with a knight, hit the bishop, and then you're going to try and play a quick c4. Very, very aggressive line. And black played the move queen b6, and there have been, on the live chess database, 48,000 games with this. In the masters database, nearly 700, and really high class, top-notch games in this. So it's a big theoretical line.
Hi, the peaceful ruler watching from India. Hello to India.
Hello, India. So knight c3 played. That's by far the main move. And now black actually has well, one main choice, which is what Marius did, and also some sort of secondary choices. Knight c6 is the main move. There's also queen takes b2, and there's also a move c4, which I saw was recommended in a recent a chessable course by, I think it was Daniel Yufa, I think it is. Hope I've got the right one there. But just not taking that pawn on b2 yet and trying to keep stuff closed. But black went for it basically, and I mean there is just masses of theory on this. Queen takes b2, and the key move for white here is to play queen e1. Just stepping out of any attacks here and preparing to play rook b1 because the knight on c3 is protected. Obviously, you would not want to go into this without any preparation. So
yeah, it looks like both sides are well prepped for this, though. They
very well prepped. Yeah. They went very deep, as you're going to see. Bishop takes d4, which I would not normally think of, I have to say, but this is the move that they play. Knight takes d4 and knight takes d4, and now we get hit by bishop b4, which looks rather worrying because this knight on c3 is pinned. But we go rook b1, and after bishop c3, we take, and go rook takes c1, and we reach this ending where white's a pawn down, but we're attacking the pawn on b7. We're attacking the bishop on f5. We've got bishop b5 checked, disrupt. It's clear that that white's got plenty for the pawn, and black's got to hold it. But of course, if black can hold it, then then it's all good, right? So b6 was played. This is still theory, and white carried on with a big theoretical move, h4. We've got games, like Vichy against Vachier-Lagrave, Duda against Navarra, Harry Krishnan against Shirov. I mean, this is major stuff, right? So h5 was played. We're still 135 games in this position in the Masters database. Lichess still 349, so
it's amazing the top players can keep winning, given if it's all theory, because anyone could remember the theory, right? Not just the top players.
I mean, I think the way that the top players do it is they play so many things that you never get the comfort of knowing that they're going to play that system somehow, so I think that's how it works. And of course, there's a lot of faster time controls because it's not like you just remember it like that. Often you have to piece it together, and in rapid or blitz, it's impossible. You don't have the time to piece it together. So, I think, faster time controls at the elite level, that's really what's required to keep the game alive. At the amateur level, of course, you can reach, I mean, you're going to see the position that was reached, even following all that theory, still unbelievably complicated, when theory ended. And, I mean, would you get it right? Who knows somehow. So
that's the first time I've heard you advocating for faster time controls. I always want these faster time controls.
I don't want them. I don't want them for normal play, but for elite players, I think it's these guys just are so well prepared, that it is kind of useful. I think, unless there's a massive incentive for them to win, which, for example, the candidates is a brilliant example of something where you don't particularly need, that because there's only one player who's going to win simply, so who's going to get the prize. So everyone has to make it happen. And, the candidates have always been an amazing tournament. But in a bog standard tournament, there might not be that much incentive to play for wins. And I think at the elite level, those are the sort of tournaments that can get, dull quite quickly. Or the other way to do it is to get a sort of a mix, right? Like Vaikanze is superb at bringing together elite players and slightly weaker but very young, keen players, who just unbalance the tournament completely, and just start causing chaos. Yeah, I mean, there's various approaches. London Classic is less extreme from that point of view, but they go for the sort of the festival approach, where it's not only about the tournament. There's also stuff like the Pro Biz, where and the Super Rapid, where all the top players take part as well. Sort of side events, just in case the main event isn't exciting enough. Although this year it was incredibly exciting because Abdusattorov went on an absolute tear and just pulled the field apart basically. So. But yeah, I mean, but this is what obviously this is why Magnus wasn't keen on playing the World Championship anymore. I mean. Just felt that that when it's two elite players, especially playing in a match like that, then the chance of draws is very heavy. To be honest, it's more a problem for Magnus himself, I think, because he's so strong that everyone just wants to make a draw against him. I mean, you saw in the recent match between Gukesh and Ding, they both fancied their chances, so they weren't playing half as solidly as they would have done against Magnus. I think, I think.
Yeah, but Ding seemed to be happy for a draw quite a lot of the time, and Gukesh had to play in positions where probably even he didn't want to play, because it was he'd be forcing the play to continue even when he was worse or whatever. I mean, imagine a different player if it wasn't Gukesh to just take draws in a lot of those positions.
Could be, but I mean, just for example, Ding didn't play the Berlin, right? He was playing the French and stuff like that. Mixing it up a little bit more. I mean, I think he had obviously he's not in the best of health. I mean, I think he had some problems in terms of stamina, and and he was often quite happy just to force the game to a draw, to reduce the length of the games. But I think his general outlook was still quite looser than a World Championship match between, for example, Magnus and Nepo. Where Nepo was playing, Petrov, or we played Petrov, Berlin, everything solid, just trying to hold it all. That it wasn't a World Championship like that.
Normally a bit more of a creative player, I suppose, than
I
mean, not saying more creative than Nepo, but I mean more. His play, he always likes these, like the one in the one he won, Ding Nepo. Then he was playing all this.
No, I mean, Ding is a magnificent player. Really is. It's a real shame that somehow he's been prevented from showing more of his best, because his best games are just there's a collection of his best games out there. I mean, it's amazing quality, really amazing. But okay.
So we had a chapter in our Zwischenzug course on Ding to Mezzo, because Ding played so many intermezzos.
Let's have a look. So the theory continues. C4, interesting move actually. Just opening up. Actually, what White is trying now, that White with this move H4. White, by the way, H4 was played to trap the bishop with G4 H5, and that's why Black played H5. But now that these pawns have been put on light squares, White's trying to open up the position to give this bishop entry point onto the softest light square in Black's position, which is F7. The idea being that if you get this pawn, then maybe the others will fall. So, but we're still deep in theory. Yeah? I mean, 96 games in the Masters database. So castles, F4 played, just to protect this one, and White's just going to put pressure until Black relents and takes on C4, and then we'll attack F7. So D takes C4 played, Rook D8, and Bishop takes C4. And this is a very interesting moment, because this position is still very well known to theory for quite a long time, actually. First games here in 2021. So. I mean, it doesn't sound very recent, but actually it's 5 years ago, right? So, that's it is quite old theory. And what Black has to do is to play the move Knight D5 in this position, which is quite weird. It has to be said. It looks, it's the sort of move you really would not guess that easily. Because okay, you're shielding the f7 pawn, you understand that, but I mean, like the knight can't move, and what white also has is this move rook c1, so looking for a discovered check, and then you have to go king b7, and if you go something like rook d1 and king c6, and you just about hold it together, but you put yourself in an awkward pin, and you're still pinned along here. So it's not obvious. Basically, you really do need to know that, because I think your chances of finding it in a game, it's not impossible, but it's not like guaranteed either, and I think that this is where Black's theoretical knowledge ran out.
Okay.
Because the move he played was a novelty, but a novelty
Oh,
that
he
gives
didn't
white.
play the knight d5.
He didn't play knight d5. He played rook d4, but it's not one of the engine's top 3 moves, and it gives white an advantage of plus 1.2. So it's essentially a novelty, but in principle a losing one. Only, yeah. I mean, white still needs to win it, right? I mean, most likely white is now on his own as well. So white needs to do something about this, and it's hardly easy. I mean, I'm not going to be able to tell you very well whether white's doing this properly or not. I did like how he started though. So bishop takes f7, obviously, rook takes f4, so black's still a pawn up and attacking this pawn h4. I mean, actually, this move rook d4 looks incredibly natural. So what Kovcan did was clever. I think he played rook d1, and the big threat there is to go bishop e6 check, when you'll force the king somehow onto the rank, and then we'll have rook d7.
So the knight needs to get out of the way.
Yeah, so he played king d8 there. The knight could have gone out of the way as well. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think what he's worried about is this move rook c1 then, because if I go king b7, I get chunked. And if you go king d7, this actually loses, because I go e6, and then rook c6 and e7.
Oh, goodness.
So it's really serious, right? So rook d1's a really good start there. And I don't think, I think Alexander was on his own there, because he spent some time, but yeah. So king b8 played, and now rook d7. So yeah, this is very, 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 very scary here, of course. So knight c6, hitting the pawn, e6 and rook e4. And yeah, now there's an interesting decision here. I mean, we've got this big passed e pawn. So the temptation is really, to say, well, we keep it there. But I guess that Alexander was worried that he would not be able to force it through. Yeah, who knows? He might be right. Maybe so he chose to play bishop h5 straight away. The only thing you wonder about with these things is, well, how urgent is it immediately? Or, could I play a few consolidating moves first, a g3, for example, king f2, that would then make the resulting position better? And I can't really tell you that. All I can tell you is that
if white did nothing, what's black's plan?
This is the question. I mean, maybe the pawns are going to start being rolled forwards. That's right. If that is the case, if black can actually do that, then that might justify what Alexander did simply. But I'm just not sure about it really. But he went bishop h5 anyway. Actually, should we have a quick look at what the engine says? Engine likes what Alexander did, so I think that's very good. So rook e6 and then rook g7. So yeah, I mean, you've sort of traded your. It's the conversion of advantages really is how they always say it. But
yeah, so you converted your sort of quite advanced passed e pawn into a passed h pawn,
which in fact is much more difficult for the black knight to deal with. I mean, that's and of course, at the same time, the king is still pinned to the back rank, so there's a lot of things, but there's a few interesting things here. I mean, rook h6 played, and it looks first of all like, is this a bit of a problem? But we've got a way of hitting the loose knight on c6. I mean, it's amazing, right? Tactics. Maybe if the pawn was on b7, this would be all right for black, right? It's just crazy, crazy all this stuff. So knight e5 played, and now h5 from white. Yeah, I guess that's correct. I was just wondering about maybe, yeah, not sure. So knight g4 played by black, and I guess that what black's doing here is black's aiming for the h5 pawn, and this is quite an interesting moment. The problem with knight g4 now is that you're threatening rook e6, so rook g5 looks very strong, hitting this pawn, but then you'll go rook e6,
threatening mate,
and if the bishop moves away, then rook e1 checkmate.
Yeah.
So that's not
don't want to
friendly.
fall for that. That'd get him.
There's just one thing that occurs to me, but it's not good. No, it's not worth pointing out. So yeah, bishop g6 was played, so sort of hiding that rook there. But now black plays the move knight f6 and wins that pawn. It's why I was vaguely wondering about, was h5 right or g3? But okay, white takes with bishop f5, knight h5, and now white played the move rook e7.
So black looks fine to me now. Is that not right?
Yeah, I mean, I think black's position has improved an awful lot here. So the engine is saying plus 0.3 now, because I mean you're getting very close to being able to give up this knight for a pawn and somehow exchange off these others on the queen side and get rook and bishop versus rook. I'm just intrigued. Just one thing that I'm wondering about. No, just thought that h3 was good, but yeah, okay. This is what after knight g4. After knight g4, had to be some clever stuff here, right? Bishop f7 stops the rook from coming to e6, but if we go over to here, yeah, and then the king escapes. That's what the engines wanted. So keep that h pawn and just run with the king, basically. But not easy this stuff somehow. And I guess the bishop f7 is going to be stronger, because if knight f6, we could just go, rook g5, of course. Yeah. I mean, maybe even rook g6 actually would be quite interesting as well. But yeah.
Now the chat is getting very concerned for Simon Williams' position.
Oh, okay. Let's have a little look.
GM Ginger GM has imploded.
Oh dear me! What has happened here?
For Simon to win the whole event.
Oh, okay. So
played so well for such a long time. Let's
have a look. Let's have a look how it's gone. So Alex played a very solid opening, the 4 knights against Simon, and Simon played this move bishop d6. We talked about this move bishop d6 before. It's quite it's quite respectable actually. 1,000 games in the Masters database now. A good way of avoiding this. The draws, the normal draws you get after knight d4. I don't know what Alex's idea was. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Alex just thought, we might just. There's a lot of very sharp forced draws, in these sort of lines. So Alex's idea might have been, just hypothesizing, you say, well, I'll try one of those and see whether black remembers. That's not quite a common way of playing with white in these critical games. But Simon played bishop d6, so we're just going to get a complicated game now.
Yeah,
which actually very much resembles a Rai Lopez. Because the knight's coming round to g3 and and here in actual fact black manages to play the move knight a5, which is pretty nice really. I mean, normally you grab this the bishop pair like this. It's normally you consider that white's made a mistake here in actual fact. So quite interesting. And there was a game in our Kiev against actually Alex has won. Oh my goodness. There's a game in our Kiev against Schwidler where white played d4, which is really a reaction to this move, to losing the bishop pair, and you just say, I've got to strike in the center there and and try and do something.
Loz is saying actually Simon very rarely plays e4, e5. He's normally a French player, isn't he?
That's right. So he must have,
yes.
yeah, I don't know.
So Alex can't have been expecting, can't have known what to expect.
That can explain also his choice as well, I guess. Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, yeah, in some ways, you know, of course, you know, Simon's in a way quite vulnerable, right? You know that if you're playing the same thing all the time. On the other hand, in a critical game,
French and Sicilian, says Loz. That's his normal ones.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. It's difficult. I mean, I tried it once. I did once played a completely new opening, basically, for a critical game one time, and I got a very nice opening, and I just misplayed it totally. You know, I just didn't feel comfortable at all. It didn't feel me at all. You know, and so I don't know. It's a difficult choice to make. You know, it's basically you never know what's going to happen in crucial games, but knight g3 was played by.
That's saying that he plays Cosio versus normal Spanish, and I think he was hoping for that.
Okay. So knight b3 takes, and now something interesting there. So Simon played the move bishop c5. It's quite interesting. I mean, the engine recommends knight f castles here. I reckon that Simon was a bit concerned about something like here, basically. You know, this would be his style, of course. And you know, I mean, well, to be honest, it does look quite worrying to me.
It's quite good, yeah.
Presumably it's not, but it does. You know, what Simon did was quite interesting, actually. I mean, he went bishop c5, knight e5.
What's the black Philidor black lion?
Oh, that's you go. Wait a minute. You go d6, and then you play knight d7, c6, bishop e7. At some stage you go g5, h6, and g5. That's Simon wrote a book on that.
Right. Yeah, Loz is saying he might have wanted that.
But what Simon did was he made it into a sort of a Marshall gambit, which, you know, is not so bad. I mean, you know, this just in general terms. I mean, the engine does not like it at all, but yeah, in general terms, it looks quite respectable. Simply, you know, but and it does have the advantage that at least, you know, your king's not going to come under attack. But yeah, white, compared to normal lines, white has a bit more central control here, which is a little bit irritating. So bishop e3 played bishop b7 and queen f3 from white. So just swapping off the queens, which I think, you know, is probably also done, you know, just to get the queens off against Simon, and just sort of, you know, that feels a bit better.
Sounds sensible, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So knight g4 played, which the engine doesn't particularly like. Yeah, actually, the engine's worried about c4 and c5 blocking out this bishop, which is actually indeed worrying. I mean, actually, in this case, the double pawns are actually being very useful, you know, for pushing this quickly. But Alex played c3. I think Alex's game plan here was really to play solidly, you know, and just try and you know, he's won a pawn, then he's exchanged off queens, and now he's just keeping his position together.
I wonder if he might want to play b4 just to restrict c5 and just hold Simon back. Yeah.
No, I mean, he's definitely going to try and bury this bishop somehow. I mean, Simon went f5, and now bishop d2, but then he kept on going with f4, which feels like a bit much somehow. But it's hard. It's not easy to play. I mean, you know, white's threatening h3 to attack this pawn, so, you know, f4 played and g5, and then b4. Yeah, this move, you know, sort of, and black's pieces just aren't really getting going somehow. So c6 played, but now, of course, this bishop is passive.
Yeah, and the other one as well, really.
Yeah, the other one's still not active, and I mean, you can't find a good spot for it, right? It's either restricted by white's pawns or black's own pawns. So it has just not quite gone right there. And knight f6 played, a blunder apparently. Rook e7 would be strong. It does look quite strong, but rook knight f6 check is very good as well. I mean, you know, you're just bringing the pieces in there.
Yeah.
rook f7, and then a good move there from Alex, rook e6. You know, it is sort of tempting to keep on exchanging somehow. You know, when you've sort of gone for a, you know, very controlled sort of approach, but here he starts making the most of his position. You know, just at the wrong moment for Simon, and yeah, this is horrible. Simply, this huge control. You know, the bishops are really passive, and you're just going to undermine the king side. You know, h4 g3, and you're simply going to lose another pawn here. There's no way around it. And yeah, I mean, Simon took on h4. There's no, it's hard to give any sort of advice here. And yeah, the big thing here that then that happens is that this move knight h5 is the final killer, because you just can't stop rook h6. And of course the rooks are coming in. You know, you're just losing too many pawns with a bishop passive here. So yeah, real shame for well done, Alex. You know, excellent tournament.
Let's have a look at who Alex has played, and he's how
so
old's Alex now? We worked this out the other day. He's still.
Yeah, no, he's had so he beat a Dutch player in the first round, then lost to the current leader, Marius Doyer. But after that, he's unbeaten actually. So he beat a couple of players that you would expect, and he drew with Pierre Laurent Pauli, the top seed, beat Tim Rutte, Dutch IM, beat the Romanian IM, Samuel Timotei Gimprin, in bananas game.
Wow. He's doing well, isn't he, Alex? He has done well.
Yeah, drew with Black against Wojciech, and then beat Simon. Again, he has played
He's 22
3 GMs.
years old. Yeah, really good.
He's played 3 GMs. I don't think it's enough for a GM norm, looking at his average there. But yeah, you know, I mean, a very good performance, and a chance of shared first in the Hastings. Really, really impressive. But a big shout out to Simon, who I think has been incredibly entertaining. You know, throughout the tournament, really interesting games. So yeah, a real shame that I think, you know, we will feel he didn't manage to show his best in the last round, but that can happen. That's competition for you. You know, sometimes you come across the opponent who just, you know, gets you. You just end up wrong against him somehow. You know, and I think that's what happened in this one. But big shout out all the same, and really well done. Because I mean, Simon's. You know, he lost against Marius Doyer, but he beat Pierre Laurent Pauli. You know, so that was a really good result there, and played some really interesting games. You know, all along. So you know, yeah, excellent play from him all the same. So yeah, I mean, if to be honest, I think Alex is pretty much guaranteed a share at first, because either Marius is going to hold this.
Lovely. That's really nice.
Yeah, or Alexander is going to win it, but nobody's going to have more than 7 points. So it is nice to see a British player, you know, you know, winning Hastings. That is really, really nice. Yeah, I mean, this is just I mean, Black's got to work out, how do I eventually give up this knight for this pawn, and then how do I get my pawns far enough so that I can exchange them for that a pawn? Remember, it's the right color bishop for the rook's pawn, so we can't rely on just the exchange of rooks as well. And just exchange it off, and then I'll hold rook and bishop versus rook. But I mean, I think there's you know, probably another, if white plays it decently, there's probably another, you know, 80 or 90 moves of pain in this for Marius. So if he's going to share first, he's going to do it the tricky way somehow.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at Kobe against Bennett Agner. I saw the opening and I just thought, oh my goodness, this is Kobe. E4 c5, knight f3, knight c6, d4 takes, and now the move d5. But I was a bit shocked when I saw that Vasily Ivanchuk had played this, and also Nigel as well. So it's actually a reasonably respectable line somehow. I mean, some strong players.
And those games were from quite a long time ago as well.
Yeah, it looks really like it's never going to work. Simply, you know, white follows up with bishop b5, but yeah, and then d takes e4 played, and the cunning idea in this one is that if you go knight c6, I'll go queen takes d1, king takes d1 and a6, bishop a4, and then go bishop d7. And I'll regain that knight. So knight c3 was played, bishop d7. This has also been played quite a bit. And now, yeah, I mean, knight takes c6 was played. This is not so normal. I think most people take on here and then eventually take on e4. But white played bishop c4 takes, bishop c4, bishop f5 and queen e2, just looking to regain the pawn. But actually, Kobe just decided, well, you're not going to get it that easily, you know. So bishop, this was quite clever. It looks like bishop h6 should win with a discovered attack, but that would be bishop h6 check. So bishop b3, queen c7, and yeah, I mean, Kobe is actually pulled up. The only problem is that yeah, I mean, white's looking to get something like g4 in, and black's counterplay on the queen side is not really started yet, so you know, not so easy. And white played bishop f4 to e5, and he's really looking either to play g4 with a pin or to take and play g4. So that's actually what happened. G4 happened, h takes d4, bishop f6, hg, and bishop e6.
And finally white can get back the e pawn.
Yeah, so it's looking a little bit scary for black.
Yeah.
But black played a good move, I think. He played the move c5.
Yeah, because otherwise the knight comes in on c5, doesn't it?
Exactly. You're looking to play c4. So you get white to give up the knight, and you kind of strengthen the pawn structure like this. White played c4 to stop c4, and also, I think, to maybe keep that bishop, you know, and have it pointing towards there. So that's why Kobe played rook b4, which is quite an interesting move. It stops the bishop moving away. I mean, you've also got the idea of going a5, a4. And now after rook g3, Kobe played king g7. So just making sure that he can always deal with that. And white's played the move f4. And I mean, this is very complicated.
Yeah. White's going to go g5 and try and loosen up this diagonal.
Yeah, there's g5 and there's f5, you know, both of which are on the worrying side. So most likely f5 is the most worrying because you're inconveniencing that bishop on e6. Question is really whether black's got any way to create some play. But you've got some ideas.
What if black plays f5 himself?
Yeah, then I'm quite worried about a queen e5 at some stage. I mean, it's possible f6. It would not be the first move I look at, to be honest. But it's possible. I mean, what I might do, what I was vaguely looking at, and I'm not quite sure whether I want to throw in a rook e8 first, which might be useful. But the move queen b8 in general feels like a good linking up by the black queen, because we attack the pawn f4. Yeah. We attack the rook behind it, so f5 is not possible. And we're also covering the e5 square with the queen. So, you know, g5, f5, queen e5 check isn't possible. And of course, we're also lining up like here, and we do have our a5 to a4 idea, you know, that might come at some stage. So queen b8 before or after rook e8. I mean, rook e8 could be interesting because, you know, we are threatening bishop f5 check, for example. So where do you put the queen? I mean, if you put the queen there, I could still play the move queen b8, and but your queen's been chased away from defending the b2 pawn. So, you know, bishop takes c4 might be interesting, followed by a rook takes b2, for example. So I think one of those two moves, rook e8 or queen b8, would be my general go-to move there, where I'd say I feel like I'm connecting my the bits of my position. And it's not easy to say what white should do there, to be honest. Because I mean, the queen's got to stay defending the pawn. I mean, if I went here, you know, that would protect the pawn and the rook, so I could play this. But I'll go bishop c4 simply, you know. So you can't do that. And if you go back to f1, which is the only square that defends both of these, then I'm not threatening queen f5 yet due to queen g3. So, I mean, then I might just go a5. You've unprotected the b2 pawn and say, well, okay, you know, show me what you've got. So I'm wondering here actually whether white's plan has really worked here actually, and whether maybe black's actually doing quite well. Whether Kobe's managed to you know, to weave his magic. I mean, one idea.
Play g5 straight away.
Well, I'll go queen f4 then, I reckon.
And then throw in GF.
Yeah, you can do this. But I don't know, queen f6.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but it feels a bit
Not enough
light
of an
somehow.
attack, is there? No.
It feels a bit light to me. I mean, I could maybe. The only thing I could really imagine is that maybe I can keep on chasing the black queen and
Mm.
and get a draw or something. I mean, it's possible. Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I can throw in bishop f5 check as well because bishop c2. There's queen b2. And after king a1. I mean, are you? I don't know. I go rook d8 or something, or I don't know. I'm not sure.
I was thinking there might be a tactical refutation of the queen h5, either, sometime, to try and attack.
Yeah, you've got to watch out for those.
I know they can
Because,
fail.
for example, if I go here, I do actually have the move like rook b3.
Oh, and we've got back rank.
Because if you go rook g3, I chop a rooney here.
Yeah.
And if you go a takes b3, I've got queen a6 check.
Yeah.
And if you go rook f5, then I go rook g3, and then I'll have rook g1. So I'm not sure. My suspicion, to be honest, is that White's position just isn't coordinated very well. And I'm a little bit worried about what White's going to manage here. I mean, one idea might be to play the move rook h1 here and just say, okay, boys, I'm coming on the h file.
Yeah.
So if you went queen b4 there, I could go queen h2 maybe.
Yeah.
And I'm just threatening queen h7. And well, this is interesting, right? I mean, I can go rook b8, for example. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe rook d8. Let me put it on d8. And the key, the queen on f4 is very well placed in this position because we're stopping the queen h6 check, which would normally be winning. So I could go g5 to try and stop you there. To threaten queen h6 followed by queen h8 mate. But actually, even fg here is probably quite decent because now I can escape here. So I'm not. Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, I don't really see it for White. I mean, I could go rook h3 as well, threatening check, check, and checkmate. And keeping the queen active there. That is possible. But okay, let's just say rook d8 again. Check there, check. I have to come here. But yeah, again, I'm missing some. I feel like I'm missing some real attacking potential here. I mean, I could sort of do check here and come here and say, okay, I'm coming into d8, but maybe I just well, I could go rook b8, I could go queen d4. I've just got, it just feels with black I've just got too many good solutions really.
Okay.
I mean, I could also go king f8, check here, because if rook h1, I've got queen e4 check.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think Kobe's got a really good position. He's played rook e8, which is also quite good, I think.
Should we have a look at Aditya against Stevie Gordon on board 5?
That was a very interesting game. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, those all transformed a little bit. Let's have a look. So it's White to play. Very interesting. I mean, essentially, we're here at the absolute culmination, really, of the fight. I think because obviously this queen and bishop are very dangerous, threatening queen f2. So I mean, you can try and go
queen e5.
Yeah, you can try and you can go passive, but then I think that black will simply end up being nicely better in some way. Maybe rook c5 is a halfway, but yeah, I'm not sure. This rook will get attacked somehow. So I mean, queen e5 is really the move where you say, can I get away with this? I would think not, to be honest. The reason for that is queen f2, king h1, there's queen f1.
Yeah.
Or queen f3, actually, even stronger, mate in one move. So you've got to go to h3, but then I give this little checkaroonie, and I'm going to take your knight with check. So here I take the knight with check.
Oh yeah, because you can't go king h4 because the knight.
Yeah, and I'm also attacking the knight on c4. So, you know, if I were to go king h3, at the very least, I'd have f6. I've probably got lots better, but I'm, you know, I'm winning a piece there simply, you know. So, so that's not good. The only way you could try and do it would be to go king h4, and then I've got knight c6 check on the queen.
Yeah. Okay, that just doesn't. So you can't go queen e5.
No, so that should mean then that Stevie Gordon has got somewhat of an advantage.
Yeah.
The question, because there's a lot of loose pieces around there. I mean, there are moves like rook c5, you know, where you're just trying to block, but then you've got to sort of bear in mind we might have stuff like queen a6 opening an attack here and attacking the knight.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that white is lost here. I think white's still reasonably active, so you know it's not going to collapse just like that. But I would have thought that, you know, you can play the pawn to f6, and then this pawn is weak, this pawn is weak. You know, there's if anything's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong for white, not for black. So, you know, I think Stephen on top, I'd say anyway.
Yeah.
But I mean, Adityo's defended some you know, very fraught positions. So I certainly wouldn't put it past him. But
there's Danny as well on the next board.
Oh yeah, this was a bananas game. Oh, it's still bananas. Oh dear.
Look at those pawns coming down.
I'm not very sure about that. Oh, no, not really. I think this looks a bit light for white. So it was some sort of Catalan, wasn't it? I think. Yeah, let's have a look how this came about, because yeah, this is a Catalan, and then quite a sharp line from black, where you just try and keep the pawn. A4, A5, Queen C2, and now B5. So I mean, you're really saying, okay, you give me that pawn on C4, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to, you know, have less space. No problem, but I am the pawn up, and that actually got incredibly chaotic, really, because black played the move B4 when normally you say, well, this pawn is going to be weak. But then black played bishop a6, and it's not so easy to pick it up. I mean, knight d2, we could have c3 and bishop e2, for example. Or even, you know, maybe after c3, bc3, maybe you even just take and go here and just freed my pieces as well, you know. So what Danny did was he played knight takes f6, gf6, and then played the move e4. Now, knight d2 had been played before. This is in a game, Vokidov, quite a strong player against Amangeldi. And after b3, queen c3, bishop b4, queen f3, rook c8. Yeah, this is just a mess, this position. It's very similar to what we got in the game, to be honest. But it really is just a mess. I mean, black's got a lot of space, you know, and he's got weaknesses everywhere. But well, you know, I mean, it's only a problem if they're exploited. I mean, what Danny did was play the move e4, and then b3 happened, queen c3, bishop b4, queen e3. Not silly what Danny's done. I mean, I think he's looking to play, well, this is what he did, to go bishop d2, and then he's going to look to play bishop c3 and just say, okay, I'm just blockading this pawn, and it's just going to be a weakness in the long term. I'll eventually I'll get round to attack it. But black obviously
kept going.
His dynamics as well, and he's going to keep on going. So, you know, it's it looks like, you know, like a semi-Slav Botvinnik system simply. So bishop c3 played, takes, rook h8. And yeah, you know, obviously the problem is if the queen moves away, then you take on here, and you've got a big pass b pawn, protected pass b pawn here. Of course, the d5 pawn is also relatively weak, and it's not like white's got very clear entry points into the queen side. I mean, this whole mass of black pawns is actually keeping things closed. So, I mean, I think Danny's already in quite big trouble here. So rook d1, then bishop c3 played, queen c3, rook c2. So black's playing very, just very materialistically, just wants to shove that queen away from c3, grab the pawn on b2. And that's exactly what he did. So then the question is, you know, can white do something in this position. It's not like the pawns are going to be rolling through immediately. You know, it's not that easy for them. But obviously, yeah, I mean,
in the long term, yeah.
We need to create some threats simply. So knight h4 played, and black played quite a good move there, knight e5. You know, it's always nice when you move a piece away and the person, your opponent, is always very unpleasant when the person then exploits that and, you know, puts his piece on a square you're no longer attacking. That's so rook d5, king b8. I'm not quite sure what would have happened here. Maybe even queen d2. I mean, you force the exchange of queens, and then these two are monsters simply. So Danny took on e5, queen takes e5, sacrifice the exchange, and now bishop b7 from black. So just looking to exchange off pieces, reduce white's attacking forces, and then push the pawns. You know, that's the idea. So, okay, what can we do? I mean, d7 check is really the only move, more or less. And then what are we going to do? King a8 or king a7? King a8 feels, well, I don't know, actually.
King a7, I
maybe.
think so. If you take the bishop, it's not
just get off the back rank there. So what's white got? Yeah, queen c7. If anything, you know, is the first move you'd look at. But then we've just got queen b6. Just very simple, you know, and nothing much is really happening there. So I mean, I can go bishop b7. That's probably the best move. Could be. Because at queen b7, I've got queen c5. The only problem there is queen b6 now. You're still protecting this pawn. You're ready to. You're also protecting the rook on d8, and you're ready to push through with b2. Oh, and you're also attacking the f2 square. That's horrible. Yeah, that's really going to tie white down there. So that isn't a good idea. The only question would be, okay. Yeah, you're also throwing rook takes d7 even. That's also possible.
Mr. Beeds is reminding you of a legendary Leela Stockfish game at TSEC years ago. Catalan lines, pressure the long diagonal, rook e8, especially when black still has a pawn on c6. I guess a bit earlier.
Yeah. There have been some absolute classic Leela games in this, where Leela managed to keep, you know, Stockfish's pieces on the queen side really, you know, gummed in with multiple pawn sacrifices. But yeah, here black's just broken loose simply. And I mean, the big problem is that, you know, if you were to swap off, for example, the bishop, the queen, and the pawn for queen, bishop, and rook for black, you'd just be winning simply, you know. So you've got a huge amount of material there that you can give up. So it's really very, very difficult. I mean, what I'd really love to get is something where I end up bringing this knight in with check.
Yeah. The knight, you can get the knight in. That's gonna.
So that's the problem. I mean, you know, takes I take with the queen, and then afterwards I come here simply, you know, and maybe knight d6. I go rook c1 simply, and you know, you're really slow. I mean, you've always got those desperate things, right? I mean, here I could go knight c8, and if rook c8, I've got
take it, get knight
check there. So you know, there's still, I think, just enough for a desperate attack simply, you know. But
Danny does have more time on the clock.
yeah, no, absolutely.
It's tricky though, isn't it?
I mean, this would be takes knight f5 sort of is what I'm thinking. I mean, if you go rook d7, I'll go queen e5. So the idea is you can't play queen b6 because I've got rook takes d7. And if you go king there, then what ideas have I got? I've got a few ideas. I mean, the problem is that I'd love to sort of do it a little bit quietly. But for example, if I go rook d6 and say, okay, I'm attacking your queen and you can't move away, then rook c1 is checkmate. You know, this is the problem. I mean, Danny's played bishop b7, queen b7, but that's, I mean, this king is really bad. You know, it's just so restricted. And black's natural counterplay is making it even worse somehow. So it's just hard to imagine that white can make anything of this.
Yeah. But I think getting the knight in's got to be a start, right? Because
you've got to do it. Yeah, you've got to do it. But I would have gone d7 check first, because I mean, now if you go d7, I can just go queen c7 and just gain that tempo. So
okay, so maybe can you just do knight f5 straight away? Is that
you can do knight f5. I guess I go c7 b2.
yeah?
You go d7, yeah, then I'll go maybe queen c7 simply, you know.
Yeah,
Tough, you know,
yeah.
it's just hard to know. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you know, these sort of situations where there's no good, really no good choice for white. It's about looking your opponent in the eyes and thinking, what might you fall for? You know, that's the thing. And yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anyone who can know that better than the you know, the people who are playing it. I mean, queen e7 would also have been maybe more interesting. Just thinking, queen e7. What's wrong with queen e7? What is wrong with queen e7?
Queen e7, okay.
What is wrong with the queen e7?
Will
I don't
you
know.
drop that queen b6 perhaps?
Yeah, well, I think we have to go queen b6. I mean, I go bishop b7 then. But because I can't, yeah, takes. But I think I go b2 now. This is the problem, I think.
Okay.
You can go bishop e4, but yeah, I mean, b1 queen is not so clear. But maybe I just go rook c1 here, and you're just, yeah, you're just a few moves short, really, of a few moves short of glory, really. Yeah. So d7 has been played, and I guess queen c7 now from white, from black. I mean, I suppose you could maybe go rook d6. That's possible. After queen c7, maybe that's
You're
possible.
threatening rook b6.
Yeah, that's maybe possible. That's maybe possible. I mean, you could also just go king a7 here from black, and just, you know, keep the king pinned down with queen c5, queen b6 when you're, you know, also attacking f2. But okay, let's have a look at queen c7, rook d6. How would
There's not any. Oh, is there? Do we have rooks? We don't have the same problem because the king can escape.
Yeah, I mean, rook d7, I go queen e8. The only problem there is that I could then go queen d8 simply.
Queen takes queen.
Yeah. You know, stop my pawns now. So yeah, he's played king a7, white, black, but I think queen c7 would also have been, you know, just you just give back material.
Okay, so white can now take on c5 if he wants.
Yeah, but then queen b6, we've looked at that, and you end up hitting f2 as well, which is the real pain. So we thought maybe you know, something like knight f5, but then I guess simply b2. And yeah, you know, it's just not really happening, I think. Yeah, tough.
Can we pop in on Ruqaiya and Indy?
Oh, let's have a look. Ruqaiya and Indy. So, well, Ruqaiya, position's a little bit better for black. Black's got the two bishops. White doesn't have any nothing particular white can really do, but white's still solid and got quite a bit of a time advantage there. So, yeah. But in principle, black's, you know, a bit better here. Nice two bishops, no danger to the king. No particular idea what white's, you know, what sort of active plan white could play. So and probably white should probably try and play something like king h2 and g3 and just kick the knight away from there. I think black can manage that, and white can manage that, and then yeah, you know, Black is a little bit better, but it's not so bad at all for white.
Yeah. So we can report that 2 of our Talented Tuesday guests have both won today. So Stanley and Kenneth both have wins on the scoreboard already.
Fantastic. Brilliant. And let's have a look how Badana's doing. She's black.
Just taking something on.
Yeah, looks like there's material there.
Yes.
I'm guessing we're just going to take on C1 now. We could also throw in B4 as well. Yeah, if knight takes C1, I mean, we've got some sort of discovered attack here, but it's not. I mean, if you go knight C6, I'll just go D4 simply. You know, and that blocks it out quite nicely. Knight D8, D takes C3. So, so I reckon you can just take that. There's no particular danger. And then you're going to be, you're going to be a nice bit of material up there. So yeah, Badana might be able to end with a win. She had a lot of draws this tournament, Badana. So a lot of long games. So yeah, it would be nice to finish on a win like that, of course. Let's have a look. What are the current scores on the doors there? Oh, I've just realised actually that Li Yongyu
had an extra game, an early one.
It's out of 9. Yeah, sorry. That's. I was wondering why we hadn't seen him on the higher boards somehow, but
yeah. I was looking for him on the high boards when you said it to find how old he was.
Yeah.
I think 17, something like that.
So yeah, we've just got. I said we've got. Oh wait a minute, we just need to do a little refresh to get that right. So yeah, we've got Alex Golding in the clubhouse already with 7 out of 9, and I mean really waiting for the game between Marius Doya and Alexander Kovchan to see what to see who'll get there.
So if Doya wins, he's the out and out champion. But otherwise, Alex Golding will be at least equal first.
Indeed. And something else, actually, I mean, Bennett Hagner is playing against Kobe, and he could be on 7 as well. But Kobe is doing his Kobe stuff.
Yes, we were looking at for Kobe, weren't we?
Yeah, so Rook E8 was played, and we were looking at Queen B8, actually, which we thought was maybe the very best move. But Rook E8, I suggested as well. You're actually trying to improve it even more somehow. Rook E3 was played, and then Kobe played Queen B8. And after F5, he took on C4. Typical sharp Kobe tactics, and went Rook takes. Obviously, Rook B2 looks tempting, but probably doesn't get you anywhere. So Rook takes C4, F takes G6. Now, Black's got to sort of see, how am I going to keep my king side together?
Oh, because you could take on G4 with the Rook.
You can do many things here. I mean, obviously FG is too much. You go Queen E7.
Yeah.
And if you took with a king, then we'd have Queen D3 check.
Yeah.
So that's not possible. So we've got a few ideas. We could go Rook B4 to counterattack against here, but that wouldn't be very clear. I mean, here, who knows what's happening here? But it could, it could be that the white's just maybe winning somehow. Maybe throw in an F8 queen at some stage or something like that. So we can't take on G6. So what we could do, a move like, Queen E5 is possible. Just looking to centralize the queen and probably line up against the B2 pawn as well, and then see whether you can take this G6 pawn. That might be quite sensible. We've also got Rook takes G4. It's just that this looks rather risky.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the king being open like that. Yeah, if I'm going to start doing stuff, I'd probably prefer to have the queen centralized first. That would be my sort of go-to move, I think. Another idea could be to play Rook D4. That would be another way of trying to sort of break the white attacking momentum. And if I would do something like Rook H1, then maybe I'd have Queen F4, something like that. It's going to be kind of hard for white to get past you. I mean, you're also threatening queen e4 check.
So if queens are traded, we're going to get into something like
Black will be fine in
rook and 3
that.
against rook and 3.
Yeah,
Black will be fine, but it's probably just a draw, no?
it's probably just a draw. Yeah. But yeah, here actually, probably queen h3 would be rather unpleasant because that looks like. Well, I don't know whether it's going to lead to mate, but it's not impossible. Obviously, king there, you go check and mate. That's clear. I was vaguely wondering about whether I could even take here.
Yeah.
Because, check there, check and king here, and you run for the hills.
Yeah.
But I don't imagine that this looks a little bit risky, to say the least.
Well, yeah. Black always has counter threats here, so you do have to.
Yeah, you have to keep on checking, but you do have a lot of checks,
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure about that one. I tend to think that centralizing, maybe queen f4 immediately, for example.
Yeah,
could also be quite decent. Getting in touch with the e4 square as well. That could be very reasonable as well. I think a move like queen f4 would probably assure the a draw there. I think in some way.
Let's look back at top board.
Oui. Oh, I think white's done quite well here.
White's a pawn up now.
White's making a good go of this. What is this position? I mean, I think black should still be holding this. But it feels like white's made progress because this pawn on this b pawn at least has gone somehow.
Is it a white's go? Yeah.
White's go. But it's going to be tricky to see whether white can actually hold his pawns.
So white might, because they'll need to move the bishop and rook away. So maybe rook a6.
Yeah.
So is black threatening king c7?
I mean, king c7 is rather awkward. You wouldn't want to, allow yourself to that to happen. Trying to think of the best place to put the bishop. Not so easy. I mean, in general, the idea of playing of somehow anchoring the bishop on b5 is quite tempting because you protect the a pawn, your bishop's safe, and then you can just start harassing the knight with the rook. That does feel like quite a nice thing to do.
Yeah. So if you go bishop b5 straight away.
Yeah, I mean, if you went a4, then king c7 feels a bit awkward.
Yeah.
Although, yeah, I mean, I don't know for sure, but it does feel a little bit awkward to do that. If you were to play bishop b5 immediately, that is possible. It feels a bit weird because of the pin, but you could follow up with a4.
And you can't even go. You can't go rook b2, can you?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, bishop a6. Sorry. The one thing that you do have to watch out for is moves like rook g2, for example, and then can you somehow defend this pawn? I mean, you can try and play a bishop d7, but rook d6, we'd have king c7. So not easy. That pawn is quite vulnerable somehow. Ooh, this is quite a complicated position. It's kind of it would be easy for white to lose some pawns. Would also be easy for black to lose something as well. So basically a bit of a nightmare for both sides. It must be said. I mean, in general terms, a move like bishop e4, would maybe be the another blitz move I might want to play just to try and hold, just to put the bishop centrally, and then with the idea of starting to attack the knight. That feels quite sensible as well. yeah, I mean, we can start looking at moves like rook a2, for example. But maybe you play a move like rook b3 then, defend the pawn, and then start thinking about, chasing the knight away with rook f3, and then seeing how black's going to react. Of course, the rook a2 being on a light square does make you feel happy because you might have some things that would.
I was going to say
attack.
a4 after that line, but then I thought everything's on light squares. So
yeah, light squares is quite pleasant. I mean, maybe a move like rook d4 would be more. Or maybe a move like knight h3, when you might
do something.
stop the pawn on g5. But yeah, I mean, but white plays last thing like rook b5. Maybe they'll always have bishop f5 check to protect the pawn with tempo. I think it's still quite awkward for black. I think it's still black still got some. As long as white can sort of keep on finding ways to avoid losing his pawns, and then that's a good idea. And just a general idea for white must be to keep the bishop active, try and harass the knight, and try and get the king active as well. Yeah, not so easy for black to hold this, I think. And certainly the fact that the b pawn's gone now, it does mean that black doesn't have a natural way of just pushing the pawns to exchange off the a pawn. He's going to actually have to win the a pawn somehow. So yeah, I don't know. I think black's still looking at a very long and difficult defense here. Rook b5 played, also very sensible. King c7 also incredibly sensible. Yeah, maybe we'll play the bishop to e4 here. I mean, I quite like the rook on the 6th rank, I have to say, because you could come over to f6 and just attack this knight. I kind of liked it, but okay, rook b5 attacking a pawn can't be too bad.
Should black then try and get rook d4 and rook a4?
That is possible. That is possible. So here you could, if bishop e4, you could play the move rook d4, and yeah, bishop f5, go rook a4. That is possible, and just try and force the rook back to b3. But you can't force the win of the pawn that way. So again, it's one of those positions in which you sort of feel that black's got quite a few defensive resources, but especially now that b pawn has disappeared, you can't force anything anymore. Before, black could think, okay, and I'm going to force b5 to b4. I've got. Whereas now you just say, I've got to play accurately and keep my pieces active and stop white from going forwards anymore. But that is quite a tough ask, to play accurately over a long series of moves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, engines can do it, of course, but humans, it's much more difficult. So yeah, I still feel here that white's chances of winning this are actually quite good.
Okay.
Let's have a look
Henry
at
Adams. We didn't see him yet today.
Oh, Henry Adams. That's right. So against the top seed Pierre-Laurent Pauli. What's happened here? So black is actually the exchange up here. Looks like. So yeah, it's looking like Pierre-Laurent will get a win here for black. It's just a lot of holes in the white position, and yeah, white's obviously up in material as well. So not quite sure what to do. Maybe I mean, queen e3 should be winning as well. Maybe queen d5 to see whether you can keep the queens on in the position. That might be quite nice. And knight c5, very nice move. Just going to exchange off queens from a position of strength there. So yeah, that's looking.
What if you take the knight? Is that
we take
what you
this
get
one?
me to do? Oh.
No, take this one. Just take this one.
Oh, yeah. I was looking for it. My original thought was looking for queen f8, but the
king will escape.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Oleg.
Yes.
Zabitsky is Black against IM Hawang. Well, bit of a mess there. In principle, you would have thought that that white stands very well here, because yeah, the black king's kind of weak, and we've got these very gummed up pieces. Normally speaking, I would have thought that rook e1 would be quite worrying for black. The question is, of course, whether you can then do some brilliant discovery, like knight c6, for example, takes, and here, for example. But I mean, I think, well, it's not so silly, but probably we just go bishop b4 then.
Ooh, and, nothing happens to our king.
Well, I'm assuming that you're going to mate him, but I might be wrong. Yes, I could be wrong. I was thinking rook f8 and then rook e7, and then if king takes, I've got rook e2.
Okay.
But it actually looks like if I could go king h6 here, and it's not completely clear whether I can mate you before you mate me. Interesting. I had the idea of knight h4 because I thought I'll get in knight f5, rook f6, and rook h7, but actually takes, and queen h2 is checkmate there.
I was looking at rook h7. Rook. What if we go knight g5, knight g5?
Yeah, we could probably just take it.
The endgame's fine for black.
Yeah, black's going to be better here. I mean, I could go. I could also go knight d2 here, but then I guess we go queen d5 or something, and yeah. Well, maybe we could somehow. Yeah, it's not feeling great somehow.
Wrong way. Yeah.
I could also. I was wondering whether I could throw in a little rook e2 before, but we still got queen d5 there. Surprisingly, irritatingly awkward. This.
Wait, rook e2, queen d5, bishop f8,
queen f3.
Oh, it's check. Sorry. Yeah.
So that's. Yeah, I mean, I can't believe this works, but for black, but it's more awkward than you might think. You know, that's the thing, and obviously with the clock running, you know, you've got to you might be a little bit worried there. Otherwise, I mean, we could go queen takes d4 as well. You know, trying to tee up a big discovered attack.
Yep.
And then I'm guessing that bishop g7 is probably what Oleg would be thinking of. But maybe we could go just queen d7 then. That might be... It's
an exciting position, isn't it?
Yes, exciting position indeed. Maybe you should just go king g8 and just say, well, mate me then. But maybe then we go, well, I mean, rook d2 is sort of threatened and probably quite annoying. Queen b1 is obviously on the cards as well.
So rook e1?
Yeah, rook e1, we could go rook d2.
Take it. Now we've got the diagonal if we want, so like queen c4 becomes.
Yeah. Not going to find it that easy to mate me somehow. And I'm a little bit wary about going too far away from it. Maybe it's possible.
Yeah.
King f7. I don't know. It's not completely trivial somehow. White's got to do. I mean, maybe I think you maybe got some sort of safer ways you could.
I wouldn't fancy this for 3 minutes on the clock.
Rook d1 maybe. Just play. Keep it a bit tighter at the back somehow and just hold it. But as always, it's always very very frightening, these things, and you've got to just finish them off, right? That's always the thing.
That's board one.
Oh, good lord, this is going to be a... So rook takes a5 possible now.
Oh, so White's made even more progress.
Well, that's the question, because do we have rook g3 then? And after g5, well, either knight h3 or knight e6. It could be that black has... Could be that black has made this one.
Do you think Black's getting a draw?
Well, I'm not 100% sure, but certainly if you take the pawn on a5, I think that the g4 pawn is going now.
Mm.
The only question, of course, is whether after I could go king f2 here, rook g4, king f3.
Oh.
But then I go rook h4, king g3, and I go rook h5.
That's nice. I bet rook
After rook
a7.
a7, I go king b8.
Oh, that's very tricky.
Oh, and then I go rook a4. And then I go rook h3 check, king f4 here. But I go king g4. And then I go rook h8. No. I don't go rook h8 because then there would be bishop. And there would be bishop e4 and rook a8. But I go rook h. Oh my goodness! I go rook h2.
King g3.
G3, and then I go rook h6 maybe. Let's have a little look at that again. So,
oh yeah.
So it's probably quite. I know he's gone rook f5. So he's knocking the knight a little bit before doing it. But is this that was indeed another possibility. The question is, how good is this? So say, for example, I play the move knight e6, then he's going to go rook a5. And if I go rook g3, he's going to try and go rook a4, I think.
Okay. Blockade the pawn, maybe.
Interesting. So maybe I need to. Have I got a different square? I mean, I could go back to g6, but then there's maybe bishop e4. I mean, I'm thinking of going back to g6 because the idea would be that I would try and maybe get to e5. That's the idea.
Yeah, I see.
But there are other things. So there's rook g5, and there's also the unpleasant idea of bishop e4. When after takes, I'd have rook f7 and bishop g6. So what would I do here? If I go to h3, which is not impossible. Okay, let's go rook a5. Rook to g3, threatening that, and then rook a4. I think rook a4 is the way it's got to be, right? But I am threatening here bishop g2.
Knight g5.
Yeah, no, I'll go king f2, and I'll just claim that I'm 2 pawns up now. So, so I'm not sure about that. So if I go back to e6, rook a5, rook g3, rook a4, and then I'm threatening king f2. But I could go knight c5 then. Oh, oh God. Rook c4, king d6, a4. No, I'm going to go king d6, I think, most likely. And I'm threatening this one. So then we go a4, and then I go rook a3. The reason I want my king over here is that if you try and, push the g pawn, then I want to be, I want to be, I'm just in time. Simple.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got knight g6.
Is that bad?
Well, we've got bishop e4 now.
Okay.
I think that's bad. I mean, how? That's a strange error, I think. I don't see how you hold the I don't see. I mean, how are you going to hold your knight? Well, I mean, maybe you could hold your knight, but I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't hold. You can't hold your a pawn off, because I mean, I'm just running rook f7. That's the only threat I've got, simply. You know,
Yeah. So
and rook
rook
d1
D,
check. I go king e2.
and then I suppose rook d6 to try and defend.
Yeah, you can do it, but then I take on here simply. You know,
Yeah.
I'm like 60-10p up on everything. So I think that's a blunder, actually. That's surprising, I have to say.
Well, he's only got 1 minute, and he's been under pressure for such a long time.
Oh yeah, he's down on 1 minute. That is true. Yeah, yeah. Maybe I think maybe the fact that White put the bishop on a8. I think maybe
Yeah.
you know. It's a very Ding. It's what Ding did. He put the bishop on a8, and then everyone just forgot
Didn't
about
work for
it.
Ding.
Well, no, it didn't work for Ding. No, it worked for Gukesh indeed. But yeah, bishop e4 plays. So I think Kovchan is going to win this now. I would, unless I'm missing something terrible, I would put my money on this. And that will mean that he would share first with Alex Golding.
Yes. Would it be just the two of them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I'm saying yes because Bennett has drawn. Oh, Bennett played FG off the draw actually to Kobe.
Okay.
So he's on 6.5 now. So yeah, well done, Kobe. Kobe's had quite a good tournament.
He's had a good time, hasn't he?
Beat Reader, Zoe. He lost to Ken and Wojciech Platt. But I just saw wins somehow. Beat Adam Ashton. Yeah, he's had a pretty good tournament. And lots of good value and good fun. Oh yeah, Samuel has beaten Danny there. So yeah, just a disappointing end there for Danny.
Yeah.
This one's still going. Yeah, this one's going to go on for a long time. 40 moves, and there's one set of pawns exchanged. Yeah.
Excellent. Vidalna's finished with the win. That's lovely.
Vidalna's finished with the win. Excellent. Yeah, she's a bit of a rough tournament there, but yeah, has played some very long end games and all that, but finishing here with a quick tactical win, which is good to see.
Well, I mean, she's done all. You know, it's like the rating changes very quickly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
she's still on the junior K factor, obviously, given she's
yeah. That makes it rather extreme.
It looks you know, yeah, she's in the bounds.
So yeah, that looks. I think yeah, White is now completely winning. So that is just that is just a win for White now with this G pawn. So I think we can say with pretty much certainty that it's going to be Alexander Kovchan and Alex Golding sharing first in the 2025 to 2026 Hastings International. Oh, Aditya and Stephen have drawn.
Yeah. We thought Aditya was in trouble, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, actually.
Yeah. How did that
actually even in this position? I mean, White's the exchange down somehow, but yeah, they expect Black to carry on somehow.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the white c pawn's nice and the bishop's nice on that diagonal.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's not winning yet. I mean, there's a long road ahead, but you would have thought that Black could carry on there somehow. A little bit surprising, but it's been a long tournament, of course. So yeah, you know, that's just maybe that's just the decision there. have a look. Anything else that you want to see, Natasha?
No, I think let's just see ball 1 again, and then we can wind up. Do you think this is now going to be pretty clearly a white? Oh yeah, bishop up now. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just a bishop up with the pawn there. So I suspect, yeah. So there's just nothing that can be done. I mean, yeah.
Cool.
I mean,
okay.
But by this stage, even if you manage to win the bishop for the a pawn, you'd be losing the rook and pawn ending somehow. So it's by the time you manage to do it. So with your king cut off and this pawn moved forward a bit more. So yeah.
Great. Okay, we'll wind up there then. So congratulations to Alex Golding. Absolutely.
Yeah, rook f6 check is possible now. So,
okay, so that's going to be good. Yeah, he needed a draw for a GM norm. Oh, Loz, thanks for saying that. We knew there was a possibility of a GM norm in there. We went that he needed a draw or a win. Oh, what a shame for him.
Yeah, that's a tough way to. Yeah, tough.
He's almost there rating wise as well, isn't he? I mean, I'm sure he'll get it. I don't know how many GM norms Marius has already. He's a young player and been playing fantastically this tournament, so I'm sure he will get it. But it's very disappointing to come so close to a norm here. Like just half a point, but also this game that it could have been drawn, and he's been over 2,500, has 1 norm at the moment. Okay, so he doesn't need to worry about ratings, but he does need to get the 2 norms. Yeah, so unlucky to him. Congratulations, as I was saying, to Alex Golding, also to Alexander Kovchan for winning this game. A good game here by Alexander. And so they'll be the joint Hastings champions this year. Looks like it's been another lovely Hastings tournament. So congratulations to Stuart Conquest and
absolutely
to all the organising team and all the arbitring team on that. And anyone else we need to mention, Matthew? Thank you to Matthew, obviously, for all the commentary through.
I mean, yeah, it's been great fun, hasn't it? Looking at all these games, really has been a lovely tournament. Lots of fighting chess and upsets and thrills and juniors fighting hard and everything. So yeah, brilliant. Really, we've been really nice.
I mean, we always love junior players. We're running a ECF podcast series focusing on junior players. That's our Talented Tuesday, so check it out if you haven't. So we've had lots of great play from junior players. I'm looking at names on the screen. Alex Golding, of course, who's a younger player, Aditya, and people who've already featured on the series, Stanley and Kenneth. There's Badana and Rukaya. I'm going to miss out some names, obviously. Oleg here, but also some of our GMs have come up with some very entertaining play. So in particular, Ginger GM, Danny Gormally, Stevie Gordon have all done brilliantly, and of course the overseas players have been playing really well. Do you want to mention some particular games?
No, I think I mean I think we have some very entertaining chess, all the time through. So yeah, I think a very good Hastings Congress, and on and upwards to the 100th next year. And Alexander Kovchan has indeed won that game. Marius Doya has resigned. So yeah, congratulations to Alexander for a tough last round win against the leader to take shared first place.
Yeah. And thanks everyone for all your comments in the chat. And thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for watching, everyone.